Watching News at Prime, let's bring you this story now. Gender-based violence survivors say abuse is everywhere, and this is why they seek refuge in shelters as the country marks 16 days of no violence against women and children. The latest crime statistics released yesterday showing that over 950 women and more than 300 children were murdered between July and September of this year. Newzroom Afrika's Nqobile Madlala reports.
Gender-based violence survivors have called for more shelters to be built. This as the South African Police Services confirms an increase in cases of GBV in the country.
Abuse is it's everywhere, man. And there's a lot of women who need help. So I would suggest that the government gets more shelters for the people, because some of them don't have any families. They don't know where to go. That is why they stay in their relationships.
This 27-year-old says she stayed for a decade in an abusive relationship.
He wouldn't let me go to my daddy's house. He wouldn't let me go to my friends, to my cousins and stuff. He used to lock me in the room, beat me up. Because he loves me, that's what he said. He doesn't want to lose me. And then after he did it, then he would come to me with this sob story that it's my fault.
She would eventually turn to substance abuse as a coping mechanism, but not once did she call the police on her abuser. It was only when she joined the Ladies of Hope shelter that she would get counseling and meet women who had overcome similar situations.
A simple hug and you would see a woman burst into tears because she doesn't get it much. You know, nobody tells her that you're worth it, you're beautiful. We have a lot of voiceless women outside in society, so many. And it's heartbreaking because I was one of them. And I judged myself.
Those in the know say more calls for help are coming in.
So shelters did suffer a little bit of a setback, I think, because of their temporary closure as a result of their funding crises. So some of them are still trying to recover and get back to where they were. But they do get called constantly. There's the National Shelter Movement's helpline, which also places women in shelters, and they're seeing a lot of calls as well.
And with the festive season knocking, analysts are calling for more vigilance.
They spike their drinks and then they commit this crime, especially sexual offences, whereby a consent was never given. But at the end of the day, you find that the lady has been drugged.
As the country continues to grapple with violence against women and children, the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities is encouraging victims to report cases. According to the department, a survey has indicated that only 12% of sexual offences are reported. For Newzroom Afrika on channel 405, I am Nqobile Madlala in Johannesburg.